This is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Tracey Frame and David Nixon. First I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Tracey Ann Frame was born on October 4, 1969, and lived in Grapevine, Texas. This is 23 miles northwest of Dallas. Tracey made her living by working as an accountant. She met a man named David Roy Nixon at a lake party. David had been born on March 9, 1962, in Nashua, New Hampshire. At some point, he moved to Texas and became a successful real estate agent. In 1990, David married a woman named Donna Lella. In 1991, they had a son named Nicholas. The couple divorced in 1995 after David had an affair with a flight attendant named Lisa Hemby. He married Lisa, but they divorced 2 years later. David started dating Tracey before that divorce was finalized. In 1999, Tracey moved into David's house. Even with David's high level of financial success, his extravagant lifestyle outpaced his earnings. Furthermore, he had a gambling problem. The IRS was looking to collect over $100,000 in taxes that David never paid. In order to cheat the government out of its money, David put his house in Tracey's name. His financial concerns did not restrict David's spending. He purchased a white Lexus sedan for himself and a black Lexus sedan for Tracey. It didn't take long for the relationship between David and Tracey to disintegrate. David rejected Tracey and was preparing to leave. In March and April of 2002, he purchased a lot of furniture and had it delivered to a house he was leasing in Southlake, Texas. He paid cash for it as if he was trying to keep the purchase a secret. As it turns out, Tracey would not react well to being rejected. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On April 9, 2002, David called the police and said that his girlfriend Tracey had changed the locks to his house. The police arrived and were able to resolve the matter peacefully. 12 days later, on Sunday, April 21, David's first wife, Donna, filed a missing person report. David did not show up to dinner with his son Nicholas, which was out of the ordinary. 3 hours later, at 2:11 a.m., now on April 22, a man discovered a body on fire near an industrial park in Grande, Texas, 18 miles south of David's house in Grapevine. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. The body belonged to David Nixon. He died from a single gunshot wound to the chest, but the bullet that killed him was never recovered. After he was killed, his body was wrapped in a blue tarp and set on fire using gasoline. It appeared as though whoever killed him had initially tried to shove his body into a storm drain, but his body would not fit. Investigators believe that David was probably murdered late on Thursday, April 18, or early on Friday, April 19. Tracey agreed to speak to the police. She claimed that she last saw David on Thursday. At that time, he was on his way to Las Vegas. Tracey said that she was home alone that night, so she had no way to corroborate her alibi. The police discovered that, around the time of the murder, Tracey rented a truck from Penske. She left David's white Lexus sedan at the truck rental store during the time when she had the truck. A friend of David said that he never saw Tracey drive David's car, even one time. Tracey admitted that she rented the truck, saying it was at David's request to move some of his larger items. When talking to a friend of hers named Carol Davis, Tracey offered a different explanation. She rented the truck to take lawn chairs to a Goodwill store. After David's body was discovered, Carol visited Tracey and noticed the lawn chairs were still there. The police checked all the local Goodwill stores and confirmed that Tracey did not donate anything. Tracey was arrested and charged with murder, and the case took a few years to go to trial. On March 9, 2005, which would have been David's 43rd birthday, Tracey Frame was found guilty of murder. The next day, she was sentenced to a term of 40 years in prison, eligible for release after 20 years. It's ironic that Tracey was given 40 years one day after David would have celebrated 43. In November 2024, Tracey Frame was denied parole. Her next parole hearing is scheduled for November 2029. Tracey's scheduled release date is September 29, 2044, just 5 days shy of her 75th birthday. Now moving to my analysis. Tracey Frame maintains her innocence. She claimed that other people, including David's 2 ex-wives, had a motive to kill him. The state, of course, disagrees. They argued that the 2 ex-wives had alibis, and the evidence against Tracey was overwhelming. This brings me to the question, was Tracey Frame guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Right before David was murdered, he had rejected Tracey and was getting ready to move. He had unwisely put his house in Tracey's name, thereby giving Tracey a motive to kill him. Before David's body was found, Tracey supplied different stories about what happened to him. She told his ex-wife Donna that David went on vacation and told the manager at David's real estate office she had no idea where David was. On Saturday, April 20, 2002, at 2:30 p.m., 1 or 2 days after David was murdered and 2 days before his body was discovered, a video camera covering the parking lot of a local supermarket captured something curious. A Penske truck, just like the one Tracey rented, was dropped off by a woman. The woman could be seen walking away with a large black dog. Tracey owned a large black dog. This same day, Tracey visited a janitorial supply company and requested information about cleaning products which could remove blood. The workers told her that muriatic acid would work, but they didn't carry that product. She purchased various disinfecting cleaners before leaving. The next day, April 21, at 9:30 p.m., a woman could be seen driving a black Lexus sedan into the parking lot where the Penske truck had been dropped off. A few minutes later, she entered the supermarket, where she used a rewards card registered to Tracey Frame to purchase several items, including muriatic acid. Using the card saved the woman 34 cents off her purchase. When the woman returned to the parking lot, she drove away in the Penske truck instead of the black Lexus. The next day, April 22, at 1:34 a.m., a woman could be seen leaving David's white Lexus in the same supermarket parking lot. The woman walked back to the black Lexus and drove away. This was 37 minutes before David's body was discovered on fire. Tire tracks were found within 10 feet of David's body, which matched the Penske truck that Tracey rented. Tracey had bruises on her thighs, which matched the height of the hand truck that came with the rental truck, like the height that it would be when a person was using it to carry a load. Nothing was ever dropped off at the Goodwill store by Tracey, as she claimed. The mattress and the box spring in David's bedroom did not match. The police took a photograph of the mattress. David's ex-wife, Lisa, said this was not the original mattress, and David would have refused to sleep on the mattress in the photograph, like he was too good to spend any time on that type of mattress. An electric blanket was found wrapped around David's body. A controller for an electric blanket was found in his house, but no matching blanket. David's son Nicholas said that in a safe in David's house, his father stored a pistol. Officers looked in the safe, but the pistol was missing. Both of David's ex-wives had alibis for the time of the murder. Tracey did not seem to be too broken up about David's death. Carol Davis said that Tracey was not distraught after David's body was discovered. And Tracey had lunch with a nail technician who said the topic of David's disappearance never came up in their conversation. Moving to the exculpatory factors, there were no witnesses to the murder, no video. Neither David's house nor the Penske truck contained any DNA or blood. The murder weapon was never found. The bullet that killed David was never found. The video for the supermarket camera was not clear enough to identify the woman who dropped off the vehicles and purchased the acid. Just because David's ex-wives had alibis does not eliminate the possibility of their involvement completely. A few weeks before he died, David took out a $500,000 life insurance policy with Nicholas as the beneficiary. Donna would have had control over that money until Nicholas turned 18. Furthermore, in February 2002, David executed a will that left his entire estate to Nicholas. Lisa had a contentious relationship with David. He had obtained a temporary protective order against her. She invoked her Fifth Amendment right when asked about threats she allegedly made against David. David had gambling debts. Maybe someone he owed money to killed him. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I believe that Tracey Frame was guilty of murder? Yes, she was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Tracey and David had a tumultuous relationship. Many of their arguments were about his overspending. David liked his extravagant lifestyle and was unwilling to give up his self-destructive behavior. Prior to David's murder, Tracey became pregnant. She had different stories about what happened. She told the police that she had a miscarriage because David pushed her, but she wrote in a journal that she had an abortion. Tracey was filled with self-hatred and regret. She also hated David because he pressured her into having the abortion, saying that if she carried the child to term, she would end up like anybody else, living in an apartment and driving a Honda. This prospect was terrifying for Tracey. She had been accustomed to the finer things in life. After playing along with David and doing what he wanted, he rejected her anyway. This greatly intensified Tracey's shame and remorse. She became furious and felt manipulated. How dare David abandon her after everything he put her through? This was not something Tracey was going to tolerate. David had gone from lover to lover like a real estate agent flipping properties, but Tracey was going to make sure his last investment yielded a terrible return. Realizing that David's house was in her name, Tracey tried to claim the house as her own. She couldn't have David, but at least she could have his house. When this plan failed, she switched to a plan that was more homicidal. Tracey retrieved David's pistol and shot him one time in the chest, killing him. She now had a big problem, literally. David weighed 240 pounds. Tracey only weighed 140 pounds. How was she going to move someone so heavy? This is when Tracey came up with the idea of renting a truck, which came with a hand truck. Tracey strapped David's body to the hand truck, placed it in the Penske truck, drove to the disposal site, and dumped his body. She attempted to shove his body into a storm drain, but was not successful. After this, Tracey became nervous about the evidence she left behind. She returned to the disposal site and set David's body on fire. In many ways, Tracey did an incredible job of destroying evidence. The problem was she was captured on video surveillance in 3 vehicles that looked a lot like the 3 vehicles she had access to. She argued that the woman captured by the camera was not her, but she had no way to explain the rewards card. That was the most expensive way to save 34 cents anyone could imagine. It's not all bad news for Tracey Frame. Her situation could be a lot worse than being in prison. For example, she could be living in an apartment and driving a Honda. Those are my thoughts in the case of Tracey Frame. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.